And whatever it takes to make those adjustments, I'm going to make those adjustments because I'm a military spouse. And that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I have a feeling that those who are listening, many of them have walked your guys' story, right? They've gone multiple deployments, come home, and the challenge that they face is similar to what you're describing. Jeff, are you willing to share, like, what helped you guys get through those transitions? What was the thing that really created that safety in your marriage to be able to continue to walk the journey together?
Dawn and I made a commitment right before we walked down the aisle that we would put each other first, before the job, before the military, before anything else. And if it ever got too much, I would walk away. And I gave her literally veto authority over my career. She's used that veto twice in my military career, and both times I was like, okay, I'm done. One of those times, Kenny, was while I was still in the reconnaissance detachment, and she said, I can't handle this anymore. And I said, okay, I'll go, I'll leave. Another time was while I was serving, doing a part-time job, trying to get all of that ministry experience and staying in the Army at the same time. And she was like, this is crazy. What you're doing to us? Something's got to give.
Yeah.
The commitment that we made is when I take the uniform off, I don't care about the badges. I don't care about all of the, awards. All that I want is my wife and children to be standing next to me. That's all that matters. And that was the thing that we focused on the whole time that we were in the military together.
Would you recommend that? Would you recommend that for other soldiers that you're counseling? Like, hey, make sure that the wife has ultimate veto over their career?
Yeah, that's dangerous because not just wife, husband as well. A military spouse can sometimes take that and abuse it. So I have recommended that to people who can trust their spouse with that kind of authority. But I always recommend have the end goal in mind. And the end goal is that we're going to still be married at the end of this career in the military. That's the goal. Whatever it takes to get to that goal, we're going to do that.
Yep.
Kenny, I think you were going to say something brilliant and I cut you off. Sorry, buddy. Go for it.
There's very little brilliance.
I saw it coming out, man. It was like right there. I just want to make sure that we don't miss this moment.
No.
Okay.
You're doing a good job, Noel.
Yeah. Jeff, I've got all kinds of questions because, the role I've played, I've not served, I look to you guys and my respect and honor for what you guys have walked through is just, again, reminded of the battles that you have fought, not just physically over there, but emotionally back at home. I've never had to experience. And yet I've had this like sneak preview. We've worked with like 60,000 military families all over the country. And I continue to see these sneak previews of the same story repeating itself over and over and over again. And it's in some ways, it's like a story of redemption and it's beautiful and it is awe-inspiring. And then others, it's just absolute tragedy in terms of what ends up being the casualty of these families. And it's not so much the casualty that they saw over in Afghanistan. It's the casualty of what's going on in their home. And I guess that's the mission of Strong Families right now. How do we make sure that when they come home, they don't have the casualty of their marriage blowing up, their kids no longer being in a home where mom and dad can love on them and continue to speak life into them? And so to that end, I guess, Jeff, to that family that's out there who has experienced what you and Kenny have walked through, who's saying right now, it's not worth it. Like I'm too messed up. I've seen too much. I've gone too far. What would you say to that individual?
Well, is the question to the family that one of the two is about to throw in the towel and say, I'm done, I'm out?
Yep.
Done with the relationship?
Yep, done with the relationship.
Well, one of the pieces of advice I would say is exactly what Kenny and I talked about a long time ago. Look, it takes two to tango, and one person can't pull off a marriage. Both of you have to be 100% committed. You don't necessarily have to just be 100% committed to each other. You have to be committed to the marriage. And in a military family, you got to be committed to the mission. Like the military family has as much involvement in the mission as the guy or the gal that gets shot at. And all of us that have been in uniform would say that. Just the rest of the country doesn't see that. At the same time, I would say, listen, man, it's going to be different after combat. There's no way around it. But different doesn't have to be worse. It can actually even be better. It's just different. And if you're saying, I want to go back to the marriage before combat, well, that marriage doesn't exist anymore. It ain't ever going to happen. So it's time to forge a new marriage, a new normal, a new future. And it takes work. I mean, it takes a lot of work. But if you're willing to put the work in, man, it's worth it. It's 100% worth it.
And
I think
what is
standing on the outside when I try and explain what Stronger Families, what we do over there, from the military perspective, train as you fight, fight as you train. We teach you how to do everything. And we teach you how to hold a rifle. We teach you how to shoot. We teach you how to move. We teach you how to communicate. And then we put you back home, but we don't teach you that. We don't teach you how to keep a relationship healthy and how to react, how to say things. And so some of the stuff that I think that why it's so valuable is some of the skill sets that Stronger Families offers to military couples. It's okay, look, you're changed. You're a little bit different. And your story, while it's very unique to you, is still very common to everybody who's worn the boots and come home and tried to reintegrate into their life and their family and their relationship and their marriage. So there is some common ground there. And here's some of the things that are going to happen. And we're going to train you on here's a better way to say, here's a better way to react so that you're aware and we can train you through these different situations. And for instance, the first time I was talking with one of the kids, and him and his wife were having some issues. And I was like, well, what's going on? Well, she just doesn't get it. I go, what doesn't she get? And then basically he says to me, I told her she needed to man up. And I'm like, how'd that work out for you? He goes, yeah, it didn't work so good. I'm like, because no one taught you how to talk to her. And no one taught her how to talk to you unless you guys had the blessing of an incredible parents that showed you from day one. And most of us don't get that blessing. So I think that's what, when Jeff says, okay, you come in to do this counseling, you have to both be in this 100% because I've done 200 of these couples and every single one of them have failed when they're not. The only ones that have worked, let's put it that way, the only ones that worked is when both people are committed to each other in the marriage. And then here's the skill sets that you need. What Stronger Families is offering and what I've seen it do is they're training you and they're giving you skill sets to make it work and get through the